Hello again, dear ones. Reverend Robert with you here on the New Thought Media Network. I am so very excited because this is a special broadcast, a special experience, something we don't normally do, but we just want to and have to do this for a dear friend of ours and an exciting project that we're involved with here on the network. So I'm going to cut right to the chase and introduce to you the Right Reverend Beth Linguri. Beth is the senior minister of the Center for Spiritual Living Geneva, that is in Switzerland. Yes. And Reverend Beth and I had the great pleasure. We were classmates in Holmes Institute together and went through a lot of various, all kinds of great experiences together, including graduation from that institution. And you've been doing the great and good work in Geneva since 2011, I believe it was, right?
That is right. I founded the Center for Peace, Center for Spiritual Living in Geneva in 2011 with our opening conference in August.
And that was your opening conference. And here we are today, folks, to talk about this year's summer conference that's happening as well. It's happening in just a couple of months from now when we record this. It's happening in August. We're going to talk more about that as well. But more than anything, I think the question I want to open with, Reverend Beth, is share with us, this has been a pioneering work now for over a decade.
Correct.
And there was no established New Thought or Science of Mind or Centers for Spiritual Living anywhere, really. I mean, there's some things in Europe, but you're really considered by many to be the pioneer of Europe in this regard. How has this philosophy supported you along this journey, this over a decade now, of creating and building and nurturing and loving up a spiritual community, where now there's professional practitioners that are graduating from your program just this year? So tell us a little bit more about it all.
Yes, well, it was a vision that grew from our days in the School of Ministry. I had this vision of moving this teaching into Europe in a big way because it's so exciting. It is the teaching that is needed in our day right now. And I knew that it would be something that would grow and inspire so many. It would change lives and change the world. So I opened this center with what I called the Center for Peace. Geneva is known as a center of peace, a city of peace, and there are many organizations, over 1,000 organizations devoted to peacekeeping and creating peace on the world. And I knew that these spiritual principles that we know so dearly, this creative process, could be a great resource. And so I created the prototype, the mental equivalent, as we learned to do, and just allowed Spirit to support me all the way in doing the work. So I just did what I was guided to do, and we have grown and magnified, and now we support other ministries all over Europe. Now we're supporting 12 practitioners that graduated in Ukraine and are now forming a center there. And there has been a center there for a number of years, but it's expanding. Oh, there's so many things we're doing. So we're delighted to have our retreat again this summer to celebrate that and to grow even more.
Yes, exactly. And folks, if you haven't heard, I'm incredibly excited too, because I was offered an invitation to come over and participate and support and facilitate part of the conference, and New Thought Media Network is partnering to bring this to you, to help you experience what this is. So if you can attend in Geneva in person, we're going to, number one, highly encourage you to do so. Here's some of the information we'll bring up on the screen for you. It's August 12th through the 14th. Myself, more importantly, Reverend Beth, let's talk a little bit about some of the other folks that are going to be there, because I look at this and I think to myself, wow, what an amazing group of people to get to spend some time with. And before we go, folks, we'll tell you there is a virtual option. So if you're not able to travel, let's not be too concerned. There is absolutely a way you can participate and get the rich experience that's going to be created on the grounds of the chateau but get it through that virtual means. But before we share how that happens, Reverend Beth, tell us a little bit more about the people that are going to be there.
Well, we're delighted that Reverend David Alt, is returning. He's been a main speaker at our conference several times, maybe 3 or 4. And he brings a depth of wisdom and grace, and he's just a marvelous person and a great speaker. If any of you know David, he's very inspired and inspiring, and he leads a process in which you are absolutely totally involved in what he's sharing, and then one afternoon he'll lead a workshop to really get some of these ideas and make plans to use them. And David will be coming will have walked part of the Camino Trail in Portugal before he comes to us. So I know that he is going to be very inspired and inspiring. David has been speaking at many retreats over the last few months, and what he says is that those of us coming off of this time of pandemic, this time of chaos, experience a kind of tiredness, almost numbness, and sometimes even a little hopeless. And so he's inviting us to really rethink and re-examine, recreate, recommit to our personal vision. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, exactly. And as we were talking before this recording, it's so very important right now to have this time of rebirth, of re-emerging into who we are and what we are. And I know the retreat has specific aspects that are built in to nurture that concept, to help us, who's ever there, to be able to come forward in that rebirth. Tell us a little bit more about that, if you would.
Yes, well, the idea of the event is that as we enter into this beautiful site, this magical, mystical place on the shores of Lake Geneva overlooking the Alps, and on what the Swiss French call the holy ground, it is a very special place. And as you even walk on the grounds, you'll feel the magic of these huge trees and this beautiful place of retreat. And so you will it's like entering into the temple, into a place of silence, into a place of just being and allowing that healing flow of life to reconnect. And then each day we have an opportunity to enter into a meditation and learn more and grow in our meditative practice, our spiritual practice of meditation, led by Reverend Edward Levierin, who is our spiritual leader. And after that, there's Michael Gott. Michael Gott's coming back. He's been here several times, and we love to have Michael here because he opens us up so beautifully with his music, with his voice, with his words, with his songs. And Michael was my teacher at Holmes Institute. He might have been yours, and taught us how much music can open us up to our spiritual practice in a new and different way. So that's exciting too. So
yeah, exactly. If you're catching the vibe here, folks, it really is something amazing that's happening. And I got to spend some time with Dr. David Alt in last year in September, and he was presenting at the Big Sky Conference, and we were there, had a chance to spend a bit of time and share a meal with him and learn more and more about the depth of how he demonstrates these principles and how he lives these principles, not just on Sundays, not just on Wednesday nights, but all consistently throughout everything he does. And he continues to do that. And I love the fact, I'm not going to be able to join it, but I love the fact that he's going to walk a section of the Camino prior to the conference. But then also, I want to talk a little bit more about the Chateau de Bossé and its history. You know a lot more about that. You folks have been having this retreat here for a while now, and the Camino walks right past the hotel. Okay, not a hotel, but it walks right past the chateau. Help us understand that whole relationship a little bit better as well.
Yes, as I said, the chateau is located on the grounds of an ancient feudal castle, has a long history of being a landowner's home and eventually evolved into a retreat and conference center. It is now the home of the Ecumenical Institute of the World Council of Churches. And so it is special. It has a small chapel, large conference room, and the grounds, to walk on the grounds is just magical in itself. So the Camino Trail goes right through the grounds, or right around the grounds. And if you were walking this trail, which we have done in years past, you will go to stop and get your stamp, just as you do on the Camino Trail in Spain and in Portugal. So it's a very special place, and we're going to be doing that, a little bit of that idea of a walking, silent walk, silent meditation on the Camino Trail that just goes right around the chateau. So that's an option. If you come early and stay with us, we will lead a small group on a day retreat.
And so catch this, folks. I want to share the website here with you again, the URLs scrolling across the bottom. But here's what's happening, right? Our opening talk and workshop with Reverend Dr. David All on Saturday. I will be facilitating panel discussions and a couple of different panel discussions with a collection of spiritual leaders and new thought thinkers. I don't want to give it away because we'll be here all day trying to share all the folks that are going to be a part of this. There's sacred circles and opportunities to be together in small groups with others from the retreat. As we're talking about self-reflection, Reverend Dr. Michael Gott is the music minister, and we have the optional pre-conference day of silent reflection. That's where we'll get a chance to walk the Camino as well. And Reverend Beth, we haven't talked about this, but I'm also excited because I'm a big labyrinth walker. I love walking labyrinths, and this retreat creates a unique labyrinth on the grounds for, as I understand it, for each retreat. So it's not a permanent installation. It's a unique opportunity to walk a labyrinth that will never exist again. What's that been like over the years to be building a labyrinth each time?
Yes, we had one year. We had one of the world's well-known labyrinth designers and lead us for a 2-day retreat in building labyrinths. And so each year we do create a labyrinth to open the retreat, and we take a space on the ground, which we have found is very special. It faces the Alps and the lake, and we gather stones and sticks and things from nature around. So it's a very meditative and sacred process, and we work together. I'm the principal designer. I lay it out, and then everyone else contributes, and we build the labyrinth together. It takes a couple of hours in the morning from sticks and pieces of wood and stones and flowers from the environment. Then that labyrinth stays for the entire retreat, and you have an opportunity to walk at different times. We will be walking it as we build it. And then at the end, we have another ceremony where we take it apart and take all the sticks back to nature and leave them to reconnect with the environment.
I've watched this process from afar in previous years, but only in pictures. And people would drop pictures onto the internet, and we'd see still pictures of people putting the labyrinth together and taking it apart. We're still working on all the tech here, folks, but we're hoping to bring that to you, the construction and then the restructuring, let's call it, of the labyrinth through the virtual aspect of our programming. So again, we're working on this one. We're seeing if we can make that work. However, the main portions of the conference are absolutely available virtually, and you're going to be able, so again, if you cannot be with us in person over that week, then you can join us virtually. And here's what we want to do. We want to share with you how you get to learn more about that. Now, just a moment ago, we had you on the website, CSL-Geneva.com. Now we put in a /events, or if you hit the registration button, it'll take you to this page over here. And here's where everything you need, where you can register, what the registration fees are, and how you can get involved, how you can learn more about what we're doing here. This is going to be just such an amazing event. And Reverend Beth, I'm super excited to finally really get to experience this vision that you have demonstrated and manifested over the past almost 15 years now, really. And before we go, tell us a little bit. Your community is growing there as well. When you started, it was you and your vision, and now that's expanded. You have a group of professional practitioners that I understand you just graduated and passed their panels and are all official and all that as well. Tell us a little bit about what that's been like for you.
Yes, well, as I mentioned, we started with our opening retreat and just opened it up to the community. And as we've passed through the years, we have grown substantially. One aspect of the retreat, which I didn't mention before, is that people come from all over the world. We have communities in Africa, South Africa, and all over Europe now that have joined us through the years. So not only have we grown our community in Geneva, but we have also supported and growing communities in the UK and in other countries. And as I mentioned, in the Ukraine, we probably will have a large group of women, of people coming from Ukraine. We're working now on that transport. So I just wanted to add that to the opportunity. So Geneva is an international city. It's a city of many different nationalities. It is a global community. And we have created a sacred community, a beloved community where people can come apart and practice being together and learning these spiritual principles, and then taking them out into their jobs, into their world, and practicing them and coming back. So it's a very dynamic process. We have people come and go off onto mission, come back, very supportive, very loving. We expand in many different ways, not just the typical ways that you might do in the United States, but we have courses and workshops and classes and summer solstice celebrations and just all kinds of different opportunities for people to come together and grow in their support them in their spiritual growth, to support them as they move out into living lives of love and caring and service.
Beautiful. Yes. And I tell you, it's that vision, it's that what you're expressing right there that first attracted New Thought Media Network.
Oh, really?
To say we put the word global in our mission and vision statements very specifically, and very quickly the opportunity started to show up to say, okay, how do we really demonstrate that global aspect of being open to not just North America and South America, but all of the planet? And what the work you have done has pioneered that, because you do have all those connections, and this retreat has been a place of connection. Correct. And respite and everything that it's meant to be for all of Europe and beyond on that side of the planet. It's really been amazing to watch what you're building. And again, I'm incredibly excited to come give you a real hug. First time in a long time I'm going to get to give you a real hug. Yes. But more importantly, to bask in the consciousness of what you've created there.
Wonderful. I know as you walk onto the grounds and as you come and join us, you will just experience an amazing, you'll just know love. And that's what we are. That's what we have become. And I'm just delighted to open this opportunity to everyone to have this experience and to join us. As I said, if you can come, possibly, if there's any way that you can get there physically, your life will be changed. David Serlin, who joins us from the UK, talks every year about how each time he comes, he leaves with a higher level of consciousness, and he grows in his awareness and his spiritual practice. So I know it's a great, great opportunity to do that. And if you possibly can come, I know that you will consider it a very, very worthwhile investment. And
yes,
of course, the virtual option is always open and available. And that's wonderful because not all of us can travel. So whatever works for you. And please note that our website is available, and that we have kept we want everyone who possibly can to come. So if you feel called to support that in any way by donation or any other support to support this project and this vision, that's welcome as well.
Yeah, wonderful. Hey, before we go, folks, if you haven't seen it yet on New Thought Media Network, well, you haven't been paying attention, but we do have a little promo video that is going to share all the pertinent details with you one more time. Don't go away. We've got a little bit more coming with Rev Beth in just a minute. Oh, I'm so excited. That's right, folks. August 12th through the 14th. Come a day early, walk a piece of the Camino with us and be in a silent retreat the day before, or plan to stay a couple days later. Why not? It's going to be a great time, a great collection of spiritual luminaries and conversation and everyone that makes it. That's what I know. That's what I love about what we teach is everybody that makes it is there by divine appointment. And it's going to be a fabulous and amazing time. Reverend Beth, before we wrap all this up, anything that we have forgotten to chat about today? Oh, the food. That's
the food.
I have been told that this is, again, folks, like, if the food isn't there, anything else is like, okay. But I've heard the Chateau also does an amazing job with their food.
It is. As I said, it's a real home environment. We eat with the students. International students are all around us. We sit on the patio overlooking the Alps and share together, eat together. And the meal times are a highlight. Everyone loves that special time of enjoying this beautiful food in the setting. And the afternoons also, we will have time to walk in the area, to walk down to the lake, an afternoon yoga on the lawn, or chat, or or have individual appointment time with some of these spiritual luminaries that you spoke about. They will be available for prayer or individual consultation or treatment. So many opportunities. Have a look at many more that I haven't even mentioned, I'm sure.
Well, and that's the beauty of spirit. The opportunities will present themselves when we get there. So you got to be there, folks. I really encourage you to do what you can. Move things around if you have to, but be with us the 12th through the 14th in Geneva, Switzerland. Reverend Beth, thank you so much for being with us today. This has been
My pleasure.
Conversation.
Excited.
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing you.
Exactly. Hugs all around, and soon those won't be virtual.
Right.
All right, folks. I'm Rev Robert. This is the New Thought Media Network. Thanks for being with us today as we shine a spotlight on the Center for Spiritual Living Geneva and their upcoming summer conference. We do hope to see you there. Until next time, I want to wish you peace and richest blessings.